Aloha Kauai, welcome back. Let's head on over to beautiful downtown Lihue, specifically the Kauai Museum established back in the year 1960. Let's chat with one of the coordinators for this year's May Day is Lay Day celebration, Uncle Paul Pomeroy.
Well, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but May Day is special to me because it helps me remind me of my parents. May Day was a big thing for them, and so it became for me and the rest, my siblings, a real important time because they brought Ohana together, brought my mom and dad friends, together. A lot of them participated in May Day and Lay Day contests, here and on Oahu for years and years. When I was in high school, I remember, every May Day, everybody got together, made lays, entered the contest, and had all the fun that comes with that.
Interestingly speaking, and quite deservingly, obviously, is this year the museum honored, and of course they named the lay contest the Irma Lee and Walter Pomeroy Kauai Museum May Day is Lay Day celebration. Parents would be stoked today.
Oh, they are. They're probably right now up there, beaming with joy and proud of, the museum and all of us who, take part in putting on the event and perpetuating the event and their memory.
Interestingly speaking, many that know your mom and your dad, your mom was really a traditionalist because May Day is May Day. And what I respect for this year is, we usually do it Saturdays to try to make it convenient for everybody itself. But she would be happy because having a May Day, Lay Day contest on May 1st is not only the way it should be, but equally important. I think a lot of the visitors as well as the locals came out despite the fact that this is a working day for a lot of people.
Yeah, we got a lot of people entered, so there was still a high interest. In fact, we've had more entries this year in the contest than last year. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know at least by maybe a dozen or so. But it shows, everybody likes this event. We've got several new lay makers, people that have not entered in the past, and that's always a good thing because that's what my mom and dad, always want. They taught lay making to many people, and many people remember them for that. And May Day, brings that to the front of our minds as we celebrate.
But I would imagine that a lot of the new lay makers have been embraced by the island's beauty, embraced by the culture, and they actually kind of like no more shame now. They just practice, let's try to figure this thing out and just go for it and just enter because what the heck.
I think that's the case because some people, one in particular I've seen that I said, wow, this, lady, is not somebody we know. So for some reason, she picked it up, went out, collected all her flowers, put the lays together, and showed up here to enter. So it's all good.
Paul Pomeroy, you was talking about, right around the corner, you remember when you were in high school. So from those days, which of course wasn't too long ago, to now, you can see a lot of different changes is not only in the styles, but obviously the materials as far as, long time ago, people would go into Mauka, go to the mountains and take a lot of the mokihanas or the maile or what have you. But now, as your parents taught us all, people grow things in their backyard because it keeps the mountain where it should be, but yet it introduces everybody else to some other flowers we've never seen.
Yeah, and that's certainly true. My mom and dad, I remember as a youngster, come around January, the garden gets planted, all lay flowers. And as they taught lay making, they encouraged that kind of activities. Try not to get too much stuff from the Mauka. And I know in past, as you've gone up, around right before May Day, go up to Kokei and, we'd gather the flowers we needed. And around graduation, you go up to Kokei, same thing. It looks like it's a herd of elephants ran through the forest. But this year I noticed when we went up, everything looked really nice. But I believe more people are encouraged to, raise their own flowers, find people who grow certain flowers. That's one of the things we did also was as you drive around, oh, look at that flower, oh, look at that flower. Oh, remember where that is, because come May Day, we're going to ask, for flowers. And I think that's what's happening.
One of the things that the people of Kauai, a lot of people, including myself, by the way, you drive by some place here, you drive by some place here, but it just so happens that the flower is not in bloom, so you don't even recognize the tree. Then all of a sudden, the flower starts to bloom, and you went, "Whoa, where did that one come from?" Because sometimes flowers doesn't bloom every year.
Right, right. And flowers that might normally bloom at this time of the year, for some reason, weather, whatever, it doesn't, and it's not there. So you got to be a little creative. You got to go out. That's why, when you go out and scout, look for a place, try to remember, go there next year. No more flowers, you move on.
That's what your mom told me. I remember one time when we were chatting with her, she, like you folks, already know what the finish line is, but you gotta wait for Mother Nature to do the thing. And like you just mentioned, sometimes ready, set, go, but the flower never quite bloom. The week thereafter, get choke flowers, but the contest is over.
Yeah, and but you learn over time that, hey, that's life. You know what I mean? And it's nature. So we cannot, nature is in charge, not us. So you use what you have at hand, be creative, plan ahead, and it all, works out.
And the good thing about it is it's in your soul, it's in your heart, it's in your DNA, because if the flowers never bloom for May Day, everybody gonna whack you for graduation. Huh?
You know that, because they know it's gonna be ready for graduation.
And if you just joined us, I am here, of course, with our very dear friend, Paul Pomeroy, along with his wife that's working very hard, Noelani. He, of course, is a part of the big ohana of course, our very dear friends, the late Walter and Irma Lee Pomeroy. I just want to take this opportunity to take this time for you to share your aloha to your ohana, to the local residents, to the visitors alike, and also to the museum, to share your aloha out to everybody that not only came here today, but continues on a daily, monthly, weekly, yearly basis to help support the Kauai Museum, because this is so precious for all of us to perpetuate as far as kokua.
Yeah, that's certainly correct. The museum holds a dear place in our hearts. My mom worked at the museum. My wife worked at the museum. So when my mom started the contest 34 years ago, that became, part of our DNA also. It's just as we absorb. Museum is our, a wonderful institution. Its mission is a solid, beneficial interest to the whole community. They perpetuate the culture, one of which is lei making, and we celebrate that today. But we need to preserve those things that are reminders of our past, tell us and show us where we came from, so that as we move forward, we can be better. But we also don't want to forget those things, because although they may not hold much importance, in fact, some of them we may lose from our memories, but the museum will preserve those and keep our history alive and solid.
It's so interesting because there's so many things to talk about when you talk about Lady is May Day in Hawaii. So I'm going to just ask you two other real quick questions. What are judges these days looking for is number one?
When it comes to judging, and even when we brief the judges, one of the things that I always don't want to overpower in my briefing is that you as a judge, especially when we talk about the category leis, which are the colors, the hat leis, the plumeria and tea leaf leis. Those leis, it takes somebody with experience with leis. It takes somebody who knows the different methods of making leis and know what a quality lei looks like. But the bottom line to me is, if the lei looks nice, it's all good. As a judge, though, they all may look nice. And at that point, then you start to break the lei down. Looking at maybe the technique that they use might be a unique one you've not seen before or often. As today, we had a lei, one of the leis is done in the humupapa style, which is how Hawaiian feather leis are made, humupapa. So you stitch your floral, the foliage, flowers to a backing, and beautiful lei came in, humupapa style, not seen for a long time. And there are other styles that then you look at what the creativity that was involved in selecting that style of lei. Then you get how well the lei was uniformly made from start to finish, how well it holds up. Does it fall apart? Is it comfortable to wear? Some of the leis, when the entrants bring them in, they're stiff. And my thought is, I wouldn't want to wear that lei, but it is a lei, and it is beautiful. But those are things that the craftsperson, the lei maker, will work on to improve. And just those are some of the things that a judge, thinks about as they go through.
And if they're an extremely experienced judge, you mentioned something about the backing. These are stuff that we don't think about, because if you huli the lei and you look at the backing, that will tell you really how much mana'o that lei maker had.
Correct. Because if you turn a lei over, and some of them you can wear it backwards, because the back is so well done and it's fully covered. So when you look at a lei, some of the leis you'll look at one side, and the other side you can see all the windings. But a developed and an experienced lei maker, in fact, all lei makers, your goal in the end is to have the back look as nice as the front. Whether it's covered with fern, that's the ultimate. But not all lei makers are that accomplished, and so it's just another thing you look at. But a lei is a lei, and it's beautiful. So.
And Uncle Paul, lastly, I don't know if there's any etiquette. I don't know if there's any custom. I don't know if there's any real way for one to decide. But when somebody gives someone a lei, what is the proper etiquette? I mean, like for example, somebody give you a lei. Generally speaking, you're going to keep the lei. But if you're at a function or something else and you get kind of choke leis and quite a bit of leis, a lot of people, they don't mind sharing the lei. Is that all right to pass on down a lei of somebody's hard work or somebody's money, if you will?
Yeah, for me, culturally, historically, I don't, and I couldn't talk to that. But for me personally, if I receive a lei, one is I will wear it. Okay, you give me a lei, I don't want to take it off and set it down. I'll wear that lei because it was given in, with that in mind, and so I want to honor that. I think personally, if I give you a lei and you give it away, that's, my honor was already done when I gave it to you. Okay, you give it to somebody else, you honoring somebody else, and so a lei gets passed on. Nothing wrong with that. For me personally, anyway.
Well, I just want to take this opportunity. Thank you for everything that you did and you continue to do to Noelani, of course, your wife, to your ohana. But we had a great time over here, and I'm sure by you seeing the turnstiles, the door open up, and everybody coming in with smiling faces, music, hula, culture, May Day is truly Lei Day in Hawaii.
It sure is, and that's what that's the greater joy of the whole event is to see all the people come in and enjoy the leis and be amazed and wowed at what they see. You can't get more than that. Can't ask for more than that.
Welcome back, Kauai. Let's head back on over to the beautiful Kauai Museum, your Kauai Museum. There we had an opportunity to speak with an extremely jubilant executive director, Auntie Jane Gray.
Oh, it's fabulous. It was well attended, and the flowers, the leis were just spectacular. And there were about 100 entries this year, and last year we had about 88, 89. So it was well attended, and the fact that the Pomeroys are now chairing it, I mean, the legacy lives on through Paul and through Irma Lee and Walter Pomeroy's history of lei making. So Paul and Noelani and their family are now chairing this hereafter. This is the 34th anniversary. They'll be hosting it again next year. So we wish them well in everything that they do on Kauai about their leis and their mom and father's many stories and creative talent on making leis for our people.
And interestingly, we had a chance to talk to Uncle Paul Pomeroy, and one of the things that he made mention was Ermely was such a traditionalist that normally we try to accommodate community by doing a lei contest on a Saturday, but today we did it on May Day is Lei Day. It was of course a Thursday, but I was very pleasantly surprised as to how many local people came out and visitors, despite the fact that this was not on a weekend.
Yeah, a lot of our visitors in previous years have asked, would you do it on May 1st? Because it's May Day is Lei Day in Hawaii. So May 1. So we decided this year, why don't we just do it on May 1st? And then this coming Saturday, we'll have the Keiki Lelei contest. And so, all the children can come and enter. And Happy and Cats Tamanaha will be cheering that for this Saturday from 9:30 to 11 o'clock.
And Auntie Jane Gray, interestingly speaking, you were there to address the crowd. You were there to welcome everybody in as the doors opened. Tell us what your feelings were like when they were just choke people that had big smiles, because everybody basically patiently waited from early this morning to get through the doors of the Kauai Museum.
What was my impression? Well, it's a once-a-year event, and it is a signature event here at the Kauai Museum. And I think it's, visiting, they're making their own leis, learning how to make their plumeria leis and tea leaf leis, and trying some of our Hawaiian food. I think it's really a local moment, a Hawaiian moment, a special time for the island and for our people.
Also, the place looks great. The place looks clean. The place looks colorful. The place looks full of life. But I noticed like an architect's rendition of some of the changes that you folks are just joyfully waiting for. Tell us a little bit of tidbit as to what is the vision of this new quote-unquote renovation or upgrade, if you will.
Well, we are doing a major upgrade, and the project will take anywhere from 2 to 3 years. And we're relocating all of the Kauai exhibits, and everything that we display and exhibit downstairs in what I call the main gallery will be only about Kauai and Niihau. All the artifacts, all the stories, and we have partnered with the OHA. We have had the assistance from our state assisting us, and it's just been a wonderful time. And we have the drawings, the sketches of our landscape done by Noka Oe landscapers. And so we're doing the yard, we're doing the upgrade. We hope to get a photovoltaic and hope to cover the courtyard roof, install a roof over and have a second floor to the rice building. There's just a whole lot going on. It's going to take us a couple of 3 years.
I like the rendition because, interestingly, I was going to ask you about the landscaping, because I noticed that there's a lot of Hawaiian native plants, a lot of medicinal purposes or what have you, but it just goes that the inside and the outside will be as inviting as one is to the other.
Yes, it's as important outside, because I think that was the wish of Hobie Goodale too, that he had wanted to see native plants, and yes, the property is not very large here in the middle of Lihue town, but we certainly can do a lovely job by introducing or reintroducing on the property our native plants, and have a native garden, and where when they drive past this building, it'll be like an oasis in the middle of Rice Street, in the middle of Lihue town. So we're really looking forward to doing all of these improvements. Yeah, well needed
improvements. And I think, and hopefully you mentioned in about a 3 short, fast years, hopefully Eva Street and all the the other constructions that's happening over here will be a total improvement. And obviously the museum would be a huge landmark for all of beautiful downtown Lihue.
It's a people's museum. Kauai Museum, that's what it is. We are Kauai, and it is the people of Hawaii, people of Kauai and Niihau. This is your museum.
And, I'm glad that you mentioned, of course, our very dear friend, your dear, dear, dear friend, the late Hobie Goodale that just passed several months ago. I mean, he was taking care of this museum for his mom, as you always eloquently said. But if Hobie was here today, what would he be thinking about as far as watching all the people coming by and, everybody, the regulars, the visitors, the local people out of the woodwork? I mean, what would he be thinking as he sits down?
Well, I know Hobie enjoyed these the lei contest and participated and sponsored the President's Award like he has for several years now. And he just liked seeing people, visitors, and he had a chance to meet visitors, talk story with them, and sometimes even sell his book called Hobie. So he was part of this. He enjoyed this, and I'm sure he thought of his mom and his family when he was doing that. He did a fabulous job. He's sorely missed here at the museum and the island, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and incredibly, he would sit down and talk story, and then I just do want to say for the record the kind of man Hobie was. For every book that he sold or every story that he told, any profits of anything whatsoever went right back to his love, the Kauai Museum.
Absolutely. Yes, Hobie published a book, and we are the beneficiaries, the museum is, of the book sales. And we've done well with the books, and I think his daughter Kathy will be delivering some books in the next couple of weeks. And no, his short stories are wonderful to read. Everyone who visits the island should try to get a book or buy a book from the museum's gift shop. And yeah, he loved it. He enjoyed being here and being part of this.
Please take this opportunity, first of all, to give us the hours of operation for the museum, and then share your aloha out to the people, those here on Kauai, our Kama'aina, those in the visitor industry that tells people about the museum. And of course, a welcoming note to our visitors that this is, as you mentioned, the People's Museum.
Yes, the Kauai Museum is like, I call it, use the property as a compass for the visitors. And as our president likes to call it, the Pico of Kauai. And it is a compass. If you need to know where to go, who should they visit, and our staff is very able and very willing to help. And this museum is just a piece you don't even have to pay for those free instructions. There are many of us who volunteer here at the museum that would like to help the visitor industry by keeping that warmth, that aloha, that sweetness that this island is known for, the island of the Ihau is known for. So it's important to us that we continue to live out part of our heritage is that hospitality, welcoming the visitors, but also for our local people. This is your museum, so I know many of our local residents have said they only came here when they were children, but they should come here and now and participate. And like today's event was free, both local Kama'ainas as well as visitors. So do come, and the museum is a welcoming place, and we look forward to seeing all 60,000+ people come through the museum, come visit us. And the first Friday, the Historical County Building, Jay Fafaro hosts a tour there. And the first Friday, he does a tour at the county building, followed by a Hawaiian Pa'ina here at our courtyard, every first Friday of each month. So, and that's all part of welcome. Hours of operation is from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. And our phone number is 245-6931. Do visit us. Welcome. E komo mai.